Hi everyone, just wanted to get some info, summary info for you for last week. So last week our topic was developing strategic alternatives. So this is important to learning about strategic planning overall, but also to your project, which will be due this week, in thinking about, okay, well this is exactly what I want to do, but maybe what are some other alternatives consistent with the mission, things that you might need to consider, and how does that process work. So hopefully that was this week was helpful to you, not only in general education purposes, but also moving forward on your final project, which is due this week. And also, I'm hoping that you enjoyed, I haven't gotten in to look at them yet, but enjoyed taking a look at the case study from last week, because it really can give you an idea of how organizations need to examine. It may seem like from a clinical perspective it may make sense to have this particular open heart surgery. In this case, it may make sense, but you need to look at all the alternatives and all of the data to really make those decisions. If you haven't already, please make sure that you've turned in your self-peer assessment. If you turned it in the classroom, great. If you didn't, please send that along to me via email so I can get to updating those. So let's just talk a little bit about the quiz from last week. There was one question about the product life cycle that I apologize. Actually, everybody got it right. I think I opened it up here. Yeah, everybody got this question right, but the wrong answer was marked. So your quizzes have been updated for that particular question. I apologize for that. And I do go over the questions each week to make sure they make sense. So I did catch this one. But if, especially, in my class or in any other, if there's a question that you really are questioning the accuracy of the grading, in this case, we upload them and the hope is that it's uploaded and goes into the system properly. But when I looked at the quiz in Blackboard versus the quiz in the system we enter them in, they both had different answers. So the answer in this case was all of the above, which the following are stages in the product life cycle analysis. There's introduction, growth, maturity, and decline are the 4 stages. So that has been updated, and I think everyone got it right, so it wasn't a huge deal. Everyone had gotten it wrong at first, but then everyone got it right in the long run. So I just did want to go over a couple other questions that were covered in the quiz this week. So this one is, considering the ends means chain, the ends refer to. And the ends means chain is actually on page 210 in your textbook. And it also details the information in the text there around, but the actual figure of the ends means chain is there. So ultimately, the ends are our directional strategies. What are we doing? What means are we taking to ultimately get to the ends, which is our directional strategies, mission, vision, values, strategic goals. That is what our ends are. And then we'll take action throughout through implementation strategies, competitive strategies, market entry strategies, and adaptive strategies to ultimately get to those ends. So the correct answer here, the ends refer to mission, vision, values, and strategic goals. Next one, which of the following would favor a defender posture? So a defender posture is really when you have an organization that is stable, a very stable organization. They're not necessarily out there looking for new growth opportunities. They're not adjusting technologies. They're not adjusting strategies. They're very focused on making their own operation efficient in what it is that they do. So of our options here, the one that makes most sense with that type of an organization is having a relatively long product life cycle, because we're not making change. It's not a turbulent environment. Rivalry really doesn't have a lot of impact here, but numerous market service opportunities, that's definitely not the case. But having that long product life cycle is really key to having that defensive or defender posture you're able to maintain stability in your organization. So relatively long product life cycle is our answer there. Next question is divestiture is a reduction strategy in which an operating strategic service unit is sold off as a result of a decision to permanently and completely leave the market despite its current viability. And that is the definition of divestiture. So, so our answer here is true. So when you think about an organization that we don't actually see it a lot in the Western Pennsylvania market, because we have quite the opposite. Right now, we're not necessarily reducing scope in our organizations. We're actually seem to be growing scope and creating true integrated health systems here in this area. But let's say hospital XYZ decides that they don't want to do wound care anymore. So they are going to they're going to sell off that service. Maybe another organization locally is going to pick that up, and they're going to completely divest themselves of that service. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not viable. Maybe it is viable, but maybe they don't feel they have the right technical expertise. They don't have the right provider mix, etc. So although there's still a need in the organization or need in the area population for wound care services, this particular hospital XYZ has just decided that they're not going to do it anymore. So that is one of the strategies, and there's 4 strategies that are talked about in the text: divestiture, liquidation, harvesting, and retrenchment. This is divestiture. It's just one way to reduce your scope of services overall, of products being offered. So let's take a look at this week. So in week 7, remember, this is our last full week of the term, going Monday to Sunday. Next week, in week 8, that starts this following Monday, that only goes from Monday to Friday, because your new classes will begin on Saturday. So week 7 is we're talking about evaluation of alternatives, value added, service delivery, etc. But what is important this week is your final project. So your final projects are due this week at the end on Sunday. Make sure that you take a look at the scoring template. That'll give you some idea of what types of things I'm looking for in the project overall. Make sure that you address any comments that, for those of you that submitted a draft or an outline, they all generally looked really good, but make sure that you address any comments that you find there. And also take a look back in week 2 if you're kind of struggling with how to format, etc. Take a look back in week 2. We have this sample business plan here that is an overall business plan, but we've also got 2 other templates to show what needs to be included in these plans. So I think that at least the folks whose projects I looked at last week seem to be really on track. If you are struggling and you need some help, definitely check those out. But also reach out to me. I'm happy to help get you on the right track as far as what elements need to be included, etc. But they are due by this coming Sunday, which is it is March. Sorry, I should have looked at the date before. It's March 3rd. So make sure that you get those in and submitted by the end of, by midnight or 11:59 this Sunday. So that's all that I have for now. If you have any questions on the information this week or on your project, etc., please feel free to reach out. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing everyone in the discussion, and I look forward to your final projects. Thanks so much.